Just drop that ass, bitch. It's Open Micers in the house. Pop that pussy with that Open Micers logo in your mouth. Jason with his bald ass head. Jacob looking in bed. It's Open Micers, bitch. Heard what I said. Drop that ass. Open Micers in the house. Drop that ass, pop that pussy. Open Micers in the house. Open Micers in the house. Open Micers is a mouse. Drop that ass, pop that pussy. Open Micers in the house. The mic is now open.
That's right. The mic is now open. My name is Jason Robbins.
I'm Jacob Craig, giving you guys OpenMicersPodcast a day later than usual. I will offer an explanation for that once we get the show rolling, but we are kicking off our very special, probably the favorite month for all of our listeners right now, our horror month. We are doing the very first episode of our horror month, and we have a very special guest to kick off the month with us. You know, this guy is a musician who you know from bands such as The Day After and Post Gospel. He's also an actor who has starred in some horror movies, including They See You and Diary of a Sociopath. And, you know, most interestingly of all, I think, at least to me, he actually holds a degree in cryptozoology. So he is an expert on cryptids, which is just fucking bonkers that we were able to find somebody who fits, you know, the description of this month to a T. Is the one and only Collin Fiol. How you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
All right, dude. We're fucking stoked to have you on in this month, dude. I give you my apologies first up to you and the listeners. Yesterday we were supposed to record the podcast at regular time. And then my fiance gets off of work and calls me, and she says, "Hey, I think I broke my ankle." And I hear her driving in the car. So I'm like, well, you didn't break your ankle then, because you're driving in the car, like home right now. You know, get here, we'll look at it, whatever. She gets home. I have her take her shoes off and look at it. It's visibly sprained, swollen to the size of a freaking grapefruit. Like, I'm like, all right, well, it's sprained. We have to go to the urgent care. I ask her what happened, and literally 1 minute after she clocks out from work, she steps off a curb, and her ankle just gives out, and she falls down, and she can't get back up. She's rolling around for like 5 minutes, and she's a nurse, by the way. So she's at a place with medical attention, just rolling around with one ankle. And she looks up and makes eye contact with her boss's husband, who's sitting in the car to pick her up. And he's just looking at her like she's stupid and has been just staring at her, rolling on the ground for 5 minutes, and offers her no help. Like, he never gets out of the car to help her. So, yeah, we have beef now. Me and her boss's husband. We're going to fist fight.
I love that.
Wow.
But, yes, I had to have an adventure to the urgent care last night.
Yeah, I'm glad she's all right.
Yes, yeah. Luckily, it's just a sprain. She came home early from work today, and she was like, "Hey, I'm getting off early. You want to go to the casino?" And I'm like, "No, you're not getting off early just because you sprained your ankle. We're not going to go walk around a 3-story casino." This lady's insane. But yeah, Collin, so glad to have you here, man.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course, dude. I know that you're a huge horror fan. I'm sure we're going to be chopping it up a lot about horror movies this episode. But in terms of just, you know, the genre in general, like, what was your first sort of exposure to horror where you kind of, you know, consciously went like, oh, this is like a thing that I'm going to be into?
Yeah. So probably the first thing for me wasn't even movies, but it was the Goosebumps show. So that was the first thing where I'm like, this is freaky and I like it. I will say though, like growing up, I had a big problem with werewolves. Like that was my thing that absolutely messed me up. Watched so many, like, so we didn't have cable. I grew up kind of on a farm, and we didn't really have a lot of channels. So my aunt and I, we would go to the public library and rent VHS tapes of Goosebumps episodes and then take them home and watch them. And one of them was The Werewolf of Fever Swamp. And that was the single most miserable 20 minutes of my entire life. Like I I shit you not, I was so terrified of werewolves for years. Like I ended up going to therapy. Like it got that bad. I was terrified.
Is that kind of
So
why you went into cryptozoology?
part of it maybe. I mean, it's still interesting to me, but like so like I'm good now, but like so what saw that episode that messed me up for a while, and then I was channel surfing one day when we got more channels, and I don't know what channel I came across, but Stephen King's Silver Bullet was on, and I'm like, I got this. I didn't got this. So more therapy, and like it got so bad that like I had like game plans. I got a moon calendar and like I scheduled it like with my mom. I'm like, hey, these couple of days, full moon, I'm sleeping on the floor in your room because there's safety in numbers. Um, and I also, according to the 2003 Children's World Almanac that I got at the Scholastic Book Fair, the sun does not go down during the month of July in Iceland. So I'm like, we're moving to Iceland. That's 1 month of the year we don't have to worry about this shit. So, but like it probably took until did it come out in 2005 or six? The Hugh Jackman Van Helsing, where I was like, this rules. And then I could handle any werewolf movie. Like I'm like, this is badass. Like so then moved on to American Werewolf in London and
See,
a bunch of other stuff, The Howling.
That's what I was
But
gonna say. It's a good thing you didn't see American Werewolf in London when you were a kid. It probably would have sent you to the grave.
right. Yeah, no, that like I can watch those movies just fine. I have still never gone back to Silver Bullet or that episode of Goosebumps though. Not that I've like been avoiding it or anything. It just has never come across and I'm like definitely not seeking it out, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of like how like I got started into it. I started finally like after Van Helsing, I like got like way into stuff from there because I've always liked action horror, like Resident Evil and what's another one? God, I mean Van Helsing's probably my favorite one of that
Yeah.
action horror
Underworld,
style.
perhaps.
Was that
Underworld, perhaps.
Underworld? Yeah, Underworld. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, what is it about werewolves that scared you so much? Because they seem
So
like one of those things that, like, is sort of a general like werewolf, vampire, Frankenstein's
right.
monster that no one thinks is that scary.
So I don't think well because like okay, so grew up on a farm. There were coyotes around all the time. So like, and I'm a dog person, but
Yeah.
like those were around. And they like killed chicken every now and again. But I don't think it was so much the monster itself as it was how it was filmed. It was, and I love found footage style horror. Like that's my favorite. Like so I can deal with shaky cam and stuff, but it was I think both of those movies for the most part were POV or not both movies, the movie and that show or that episode were like POV of the werewolf like chasing down a person. And so you don't even really know what the monster looked like. So I think that's what freaked me out was like this thing is killing people and we don't even know what it is. So I think that was what got me so much about it, but I just kind of attribute it to like that's all werewolves. We don't know what it's doing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That's probably I think that's why it freaked me out so much. Just the unknown of it.
Yeah, I think that's underrated in the horror genre because I mean, one of the scariest things, especially to people who have actually experienced it, is being chased.
Yeah.
Like if you're actually legitimately being chased and you're like afraid for your life, it's a very scary thing that preys on like a very real feeling that everyone has possibly felt in their life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, that definitely got me. Just that fear of the unknown, uh, stalking
Oh, it seems like his zoom's going a
me up.
little chunky.
Yeah.
We'll wait for him to come back. He should be back in just a second.
Yeah, I heard him finish his sentence, so he should hopefully be right back.
Yeah, well.
Do you have everything paused?
No, but I can pause it. Well, nope, there he
There
is.
he is.
He's back. Oh,
He
no.
left.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it.
He's
We're
probably gonna come back.
We're gonna pause the audio, and we'll be back. Ah, there he is.
Hey, buddy, you back?
Hey, yes, can you hear me?
Yeah,
We
we can
got
hear
I'm
you.
you.
gonna try something real quick. I'm gonna switch Wi-Fi's to like my phone because my vocal booth's out in the.
All right, video is unpaused, and now we're going audio. 3, 2, 1, and we're back.
Cool. Sorry about that.
Yeah, all good, man. Yeah, going back to the thing about being chased or whatever, or the real visceral feelings that horror gives us. I remember the first time I played Resident Evil 7, which I thought, because I had played all the Resident Evils up to that point, and Resident Evil
Yeah.
6 is the most like action of the genre. And then I
Yeah.
turned 7 on, and I have to turn it off and take a break and like go look around my house just in case, because I thought like for sure that I was like being hunted. Like I felt truly like someone was actually chasing me playing that game.
Oh, for sure. 7 and 8 are like I've always been a big fan of those movies, but 7 and 8 might be my favorite ones of the entire series because they're fucking scary, man. I love them.
Yeah, 7 especially. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just and that's another thing about horror too, as I think that once upon a time, probably when Jason was a kid or a teenager or whatever, horror movies was really all it was. Like you watch horror movies at Halloween, and now I think that the genre has permeated so much through culture that we have these fantastic horror video games, TV specials, TV shows that and even family friendly, tons of family friendly Halloween stuff that we can enjoy
Oh yeah.
through the
Too, I
entire
think one of
holiday.
the biggest things that messed up my generation, because I was born in the late 70s, was a lot of 80s movies were marketed as kids' movies, but they were
Yeah.
not kids' movies. Like, they were actually scary movies. And I've told this 100 times. Jacob knows this, but Gremlins fucked me up when I was a kid.
He
My
still
aunt,
won't watch Gremlins.
That's no joke, man.
dude, my aunt took me to see Gremlins when I was 7 years old when that movie came out in the theater. And I had to sleep with the lights on till I was 13 years old because of that
Yeah.
movie.
I get it.
It was, and I still won't watch it to this day. Like, I hate
Really?
Gremlins. I hate the movie. I always said if I ever met Steven Spielberg, I'm gonna punch him in the balls because of Gremlins.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
You're gonna punch Steven Spielberg in the balls. He's gonna be like, "Was this for BFG?" Like, no, it's for Gremlins. He's put out some stinkers lately. But yeah, man, there's just a lot of real visceral feelings come out of the horror genre, especially lately. I think once the field gets kind of saturated to a point, obviously you have to find new angles on everything.
Mhm.
Is there a certain classic horror trope that you like specifically, Colin, such as like slasher, found footage, that kind of thing?
Found footage is my favorite, but oddly enough, I'm not a huge Blair Witch Project fan.
Really?
Really?
Like I don't dislike it. I'm just like it's a slow burn.
Yeah.
Just like when you compare it to it laid a lot of groundwork out,
Mhm.
which cool. But compared to like Paranormal Activity, like I'm definitely way more of a Paranormal Activity fan. Just because like that was way scarier to me than some guy standing in a corner. Uh, but I don't know. I'm so hard to displease when it comes to movies. I love trash. I love uh
Yeah.
I love slasher flicks. I love ghost stories. Um as far as a good ghost story goes, Haunting of Hill House is one of my favorite things I've seen in recent years.
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite ghost story. Episode 5, The Bent Neck Lady, will never cease to make me bawl like a baby. Like that is such a good, beautiful story. But uh, but yeah, overall, I'd say found footage is my favorite style of horror. Because I love it's just like watching a really long version of like YouTube videos, which is what I used to do all the time, was just looking up like ghost caught on camera and stuff like that. And uh I know it's all scripted and stuff, obviously, but it hits like it's a real thing to me, at least. And I know it doesn't apply to everybody, but
Have you seen the movie Deadstream?
I have not yet. It's on my list.
It's so
I heard
good.
that one's a good one.
Yeah, it's excellent. It's exactly what you're describing. It's basically like a Twitch streamer that goes
Mhm.
into a house that's supposedly haunted, but it turns out it's actually haunted. So
Yeah.
it's pretty quick too. Like it smokes. It's not like Blair Witch Project where you like, yeah, it's a very slow burn. But also
Yeah.
too, when you think about the Blair Witch Project, like back when that movie came out, that was complete like the first evidence that I can remember of like viral marketing. Especially
Hmm.
it was very
Oh, absolutely.
internet based, like with the chat rooms and the message boards and everything. And none of us knew. We thought it was real. Like, is this
Yeah.
shit? We
The
didn't know if
missing
it was
posters
real
and
or
stuff.
not. Yeah,
Yeah. I know they got in trouble because the town that they were filming in, they hung up missing posters and stuff. And turns out around that time, just happenstance, a couple of kids around those age groups did go missing. So
yeah,
they like, maybe we should pull those posters.
yeah.
Um, uh, but yeah, no, as far as like great marketing goes, and another one of my favorite movies that's found footage, and so found footage and monster movies are probably my favorite. Like I love a good creature.
Yeah,
Cloverfield,
Yes.
that
yeah,
whole universe. If you've never done a deep dive on that, like every character had their own MySpace page, and the fake places that they worked had websites. And if you go to those websites and you can go through all these tabs on the websites and you find out that John Goodman's character was employee of the month at this slusho company, and you're like, what the fuck? It's all connected. Like, it's so cool. It's like I could watch hours of just YouTube theories on that whole universe. It's so interesting. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think J.J. Abrams doesn't get enough shine as sort of a god in the horror genre because he's
Oh
just done
God, he's
so much
awesome.
for it.
Yeah, and then there was like, what was it? The third one, Cloverfield Paradox, where like I think after the Super Bowl, it was just like, hey, it's on Netflix right now. Like that was the ad.
yeah.
Was just it like that was the commercial. Like, hey, new Cloverfield, now, and whenever the next one comes out, if there will be a next one, I expect him to just like come throw a Blu-ray disc through my window or something like that, and that's just how it's delivered to me now. But I fucking welcome it. I love those movies. They're so fucking good.
Yeah, dude, Netflix is gonna go back to just mailing you DVDs for the new Cloverfield.
I'm in. I'm so in.
I'm
Would
for
be
it.
great. And we keep mentioning your degree in cryptozoology. We
Yeah,
are going to get into that very soon. I do
sure.
want to know though. I mean, obviously you're an expert in cryptids and such. We've talked about ghosts. Do you genuinely believe in ghosts, and have you had any paranormal experiences of your own?
So I do believe in ghosts. What and I do have a story, but I don't know if it was like a ghost spirit sort of thing or if it was an alien sort of thing.
Okay, well, we will
Like
be the judges.
Yeah,
okay, if it's like the Greys or shadow people or like what have you, I don't know. Um, I was on tour in like this was I think 2014 or 15 maybe, and we like I whenever we go on tour, like I like make it a point to like just go visit and do and see weird shit. So like we stopped by Roswell, New Mexico a handful of times, and that's always fun. Um, we've like I love movie locations too, so I loved it. Like we went and saw like the house from Texas Chainsaw and stuff like that. But so we were in I think like Modesto, California. I could be wrong on where we were, but there were four of us. So like two dudes and a queen, two dudes and a queen. And we would always leave the bathroom light on. Like with like the door cracked just so it's easier like if somebody gets up in the middle of the night to go find the bathroom. Um so we did and I woke up like 6, 7 in the morning. It was a weird tour. I won't even go into the details on that, but like our schedule was crazy. So um I think I woke up like around 6 or something. This was just me guessing. Because I woke up and I couldn't move. I have never had sleep paralysis before, so this was, and I honestly have not had it since. But so I woke up. I sleep on my side, so I was asleep on my right on my left side. So my right ear was to the sky. Um, and I saw John, my buddy John, who was on the tour with me. He got up out of the bed and he was walking to go to the shower. And I saw just from the light peeking out of the bathroom that there was this tall, shadowy figure standing like right on the other side of the door. There were two of them, and it looked like they were like talking, like whispering to each other. Um, uh, and I couldn't move. I could just move my eyes. That was it. I couldn't say anything. I saw John start walking towards the bathroom, like right towards these two things that he doesn't seem to know are there. And these two things looked kind of right at me. I wanted to be like, John, fucking stop, no, cease. And nothing came out. And I also noticed that I wasn't even really breathing. It was just like eyes moving. That was it. That's all I could do. Um, and but he walks right through the bathroom door, shuts the or and he like turns on like the little hallway light kind of thing, like right by the front door, the little foyer light, and they disappear. They were gone, and then I could move, then I could breathe. But I also noticed I could not hear anything out of my right ear, and that lasted, I shit you not, for like 7 months. And it's not like it was quiet; it was silent, and I was kind of scared because I'm a musician. Like I don't want to, and I'm also like 19 or 20. I don't want to be deaf, not yet. So I couldn't hear anything. And the only thing I could think of was like this ear was open to be fucked with or something. And it was weird because it just felt like there's like just a pinky lodged in my ear like permanently. Like and I went to like ear doctors and stuff like that. And everyone's like, you it looks fine. I really like your eardrum is responding to stuff. I don't know why you seemingly can't hear anything. Um, and then like later, like once that 7 months or so was up, just suddenly it was just like a pop and I could hear again. But for like the first 2 months or so, my ear was also very, very itchy, like right behind my ear. Like I had, like, it's like I've never showered before in my life, but it was very itchy right there. And I've heard stories like in my deep dives on like aliens and stuff of them putting like trackers and stuff like in your ear and stuff like that.
So I
So
was
that
gonna
was
say, have
something.
you had a X-ray or anything to see if there's anything in there?
Never an X-ray, because doctors are fucking expensive. But uh, but I like it randomly one day it just like popped back out like I was on an airplane, like just a big like it hurt a lot, but I could hear. And then like come April again, like that following year, it was it's like a sensation of like getting water poured in your ear. It was just sort of a like you could feel the suction of like it just kind of getting sealed over, and suddenly I couldn't hear again, and then couldn't hear for a couple months, and again it would just come back randomly several months later, and then right around springtime for up through this year, like since 2014 or 15, every single year, right around springtime, April, May, my hearing in just this ear will go away. And so I don't know if it was an alien thing, a ghost thing, or if I'm just a fucking medical anomaly. But that's that's probably like my biggest story is potential tracker slash fuckery. I don't know. But so whether they are shadow people, ghosts, I've never seen them since. But the only thing I ever have seemed to like hear out of that ear during the time that the hearing's gone seems like the whisper things that I was hearing. And that's probably the biggest story that I got as far as stuff like that goes. Still don't know if I'm going insane or what, but yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, that definitely sounds more in the realm of extraterrestrial as opposed to
Yeah,
spiritual, I think.
right. Yeah, no idea. But
Well, as a person who does suffer from sleep paralysis a lot,
mhm.
when it was happening to you, did you get that in your ear? Did you hear that like loud rumbling in your ear while this was going on? Because that's what happens to me.
I don't think so. I don't remember any loud rumbling. I just remember like I could kind of hear the AC, but I must have been through my other ear, kind of through the pillow, because didn't really I didn't really know that I couldn't hear at the moment, and I just heard like the whispery sounds, but I don't recall any rumbling at all.
Yeah, when it happens to me, it's like I can't really hear anything, but it's just a loud, low rumble in my ears
Okay,
until the whole episode stops, like until I'm, fully awake or whatever.
interesting.
Yeah.
How often have you experienced that?
A couple times a year since I was a kid.
Gosh, that's horrible. If it's
Man,
Yeah.
any,
you're old as fuck. That's
Yeah.
so many times.
if that is in fact what I experienced, that sucks, man. I'm sorry. Like I don't know, because like I said, I've never experienced it until then, and I've never experienced it since. So I don't know if that's exactly what that was, or I don't know. But
Well, also too, as a former touring musician who has been on the road a lot, could have been just absolute sleep deprivation that you were
it
having.
could have been definitely. But also, why the fuck can't I hear every spring? So I don't know.
That's true. Well, and it is springtime. There's a lot of allergens in the air during the springtime, so that could have something
That
to
is
do with
true.
it. But I do come from the camp as well, where someone says like, "Oh, this thing happened to me once. It hasn't happened before, since, or whatever." I do tend to believe that it might be fucking legitimate, but I'm a
Yeah,
gullible guy. Like if you
right.
say that aliens put something in your ear, I'm probably gonna believe you.
Yeah, like, see, I don't know that because you hear those stories about like the dude that's like dumb as shit suddenly can speak perfect Latin or something, and
Yeah.
you're just like, okay, well, there's got to be something going on here. Whether it's possession or I don't know, but
Yeah. Yeah, and see, yeah, I would be more skeptical too, because I think, a lot of these things that you hear online, they're very easy to poke holes in. And I think
Mhm.
that's, a genuine extraterrestrial thing. It obviously will be very easy to poke holes in because that's how they would orchestrate it or whatever.
Yeah,
But, I personally had a paranormal experience. And
hit me.
after my paranormal experience, I've tended to believe a lot more,
Mhm.
about what people say or anything because, yeah, like a lot of stuff can't be proven, but when you know for a fact that you are of sober mind, you're not sleep deprived or whatever, you're not asleep, if there's, and for a fact what you saw or what happened with your own eyes and your own experience, like, yeah, obviously no one's going to believe you, but for a fact what happened to you.
Right. Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, like I know what I experienced, whether people believe it or not. I mean, what do I get out of it if people believe me? What do I get if people don't believe me? I'm still not going to hear in April.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, exactly.
If I were you, I would go get an X-ray done and see if something's in there.
yeah, I might do that. Um, yeah, whenever that's what I want for Christmas is
Yeah,
funds
ask for
for an
an
X-ray.
X-ray.
Yeah,
What do
Yeah,
you want
get
for
an X-ray.
Christmas? X-ray. That's what I want.
yeah,
Yeah, but then the odds too of it still, still being in there are slim to none as well.
right.
If
Yeah,
something was ever there to begin with, chances are it's some kind of technology beyond our comprehension that's probably not there anymore.
right. Absolutely.
Yeah. But I do want to shift gears into cryptozoology now.
Sure.
You do have a degree in cryptozoology.
Do.
First question, why?
That was my COVID activity. Everyone else is like sourdough, and I'm like, I'm gonna learn about shit and stuff that no one cares about. So I did, and it was the most fun I'd ever had learning. So it was like a 150-hour accredited course, and like I got it done in less than a week, and I got 100% in the entire class.
Jesus.
Um, like it was It was awesome. I think they released like a second course on it too, so I'm like, I might do that again. Um, but I definitely have a lot less time at the moment. But yeah, no, it was really cool. I definitely wouldn't call myself an expert on it. I've always been into it, and I've read so much stuff on the internet, and it's always hard to remember specific dates and names and stuff like that because like there's like 50 different Bigfoot names and stuff. So, but my favorite part of all of it was because they definitely emphasized the fact that like yeah, this is the study of creatures that may or may not exist. Like we are open to be proved wrong, kind of thing. Like, but at the same time, don't rule it out because the thing that they, or I don't know if this is the point they were trying to put, but this is the big thing that I took from it is everything's impossible until it's not. Um, like it's impossible until someone does it, or it's impossible until someone finds it. Like so, for example, what's a good example? So picture the first white guy, first European dude to ever see a giraffe.
Yeah.
He probably went back to his buddies and he was like, "Okay, guys, you ever see a goat and think, what if but tall?" And everyone's probably like, "You're fucking stupid." And now, like you and I, we all know what a giraffe is.
Yeah.
So like maybe we just haven't found the thing, but some other people, because there still are like tribes that just live off the grid in places that just still eat each other or whatever they can find, and they might know of some sort of creatures that we just don't know about yet. Um,
Yeah.
which could go into like whole other things like hollow earth theory and stuff like that. But um, there's just so many stories from all over the world of similar creatures, and it's like they all they're all lying. It seems a little far fetched, or like even like as far back as tales go. Like I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I can't imagine everyone was that good of a storyteller way back when. Like
Yeah.
no, I don't know. But I don't know. Everything's impossible until it's not. So like
Well, you
I'm
reminded
always down
me.
to be proved wrong. I'm always down to like be like, yeah, okay, yeah, no, like I'll look at a video and I'll be like, yeah, no, that's definitely I don't know, a horse. I have no idea. Like
Well,
it's
you
yeah,
reminded me like when people talk, like what you said about something's impossible until it's possible. Like there was something about cryptids I had saw not too long ago, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was kind of like explaining like what is more believable, like explaining a giraffe or
yeah,
a unicorn. Like which one
right,
is more believable? Like this long neck thing that you can't really explain what it is, or a horse with a horn. Like
right.
which
The
one's more
leopard dinosaur.
believable?
Like yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, and much to your point as well, back when Marco Polo had returned from his adventures, he brought with him his journal and everything, and everyone just immediately called him a liar and a storyteller, and discredited all of his stories that he had brought back, and turns out that he discovered a lot of different real peoples and stuff that no one initially believed him about. um, I am very interested in a lot of the different cryptids. I'm curious if there's any, sort of different classification of that you can put different cryptids in. Like, for example, one classification being Bigfoot, like this creature that's obviously from ancient times, further down the evolutionary chain, whatever, or like, something that's seemingly far more less believable, like a Wendigo or a Rougarou or something like that. Is there different classifications there, or anything like that?
I I don't know if I'm totally understanding the question as far as different classifications.
So what I'm basically saying is that, like, with different cryptids, you would think that some are, more mythology based, some are more like
Oh,
easier to explain by science, that kind of thing.
okay. Yeah. So there's definitely ones that are like more of an animal side of things, and then there's some that are more like, what's a good word for it? I guess on the more paranormal side.
Mm.
Uh, like Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti, Thunderbirds, Loch Ness Monster, those are all on the more animal side, but like stuff like you said, like the Wendigo um or like skinwalkers or stuff like that might be on the more paranormal side. Um, but yeah, no, I'd say yeah, those are probably the two best ways to kind of put it is just more animal versus more paranormal. So I think the animal one is definitely more of a probability than the paranormal. But I mean, I've seen some weird shit too. So like I'm not gonna rule it out. So
Right. So, and your personal opinion here, just sort of detaching away from like the personal knowledge of cryptozoology or whatever. In your personal opinion, is there like one specific cryptid that you think is the very most likely to be not only real, but also to be discovered and found by people eventually?
um I would say that's a good question. 'Cause I definitely have like a high belief that a lot of them could be real. But the most likely would probably be, and a cryptid could also be something that is like was thought to have been extinct, but is
Mm.
still around. Like, I mean, Nessie could be a dinosaur of some sort. But I'd say maybe a megalodon or
Oh.
or the Kraken. Like, I mean, they keep finding bigger and bigger giant squids. So um, I think, and it's got like 95% of the ocean's a mystery. So
Mhm.
uh, we know virtually nothing about it or what's in there. So I think whatever the most likely thing to be found eventually would probably be water based.
Yeah, that's a very
Yeah.
educated answer, I think. Yeah, I mean, there's literally just a vast. I mean, people say it all the time. We know more about space than we do our own waters.
Right.
Yeah, there's definitely some kind of ancient creature that lives just right at the bottom of that motherfucker.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I
There's
mean, like
gotta be.
forests are fucking huge. Like, there could be an 8 foot, 8 man living in there, but like, I mean, that's easier to scour through than the ocean by far.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you think it's possible that maybe they did exist at one point, like Bigfoot? The most famous footage is from whatever time, or the Loch Ness monster, the pictures from whatever time. Do we think it could be possible that they did exist in our time, but they're deceased now, and that we'll never be able to find them or the remains?
I think it's possible. The thing that I struggle with is like when people think that there's just one of something. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
you can't. That's like saying it's God or something. Like there's not just one Bigfoot and he's all over the place. Like he's or one Loch Ness monster. Like they don't live forever. Nothing lives
Yeah.
forever. Maybe tortoises, but um uh but like yeah, there if people saw something 500 years ago and 400 and 300 and 200 and like more current, there's no way it's the same one. So there's got to be multiple, or maybe it's becoming extinct. So there might not be a lot of them, but there's no way that it's like that. There's just the one. That's I don't know. That's kind of silly. Um, but yeah,
Cause see that that's
Gotcha.
something that's always kind of been on my mind too, especially something like Loch Ness monster. They're saying, oh, some kind of dinosaur or something. Like, well, I mean, it's so there's one thing has been around for like millions of
Right.
years. Like, where are the other ones?
Right.
So I don't
It's
know.
like you remember the Matthew Broderick Godzilla movie where Godzilla like lays a bunch of eggs in
Yeah.
Yeah.
Madison Square Garden or whatever? It's fucking that shit, dude.
I love
They're
that
just
movie,
breeding in
man.
the
That's
Loch
one of my
Ness.
favorite Godzilla movies.
Yeah, dude. That's the one I grew up with. It still holds up.
Yeah.
But
CGI is not great, but the movie holds up.
But what if Bigfoot is just like leftover Neanderthals or something like that kind of
It could
evolved to
be.
be more hairy or something, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like that's definitely a theory. Like it, or like what's another one? I can't remember exactly where it was. Uh, but just like the giraffe thing, like everything's impossible till it's not. There was this, and this was like in the 1920s or something like that. I think it was on like one of, I could be wrong on the timeline, but I think it could be. It was like one of the president that hunted a lot,
Uh,
Teddy Roosevelt.
Roosevelt, yeah.
Um, he like I think he and his party like found some gorillas or something, but people were like, there are no gorillas there, and they're like kind of just like, oh, I guess there's gorillas there. Like so, but it's like they were their own kind of like a new species, I suppose.
Yeah.
Maybe they weren't a new species, but they're like I don't know. It's like saying like, yeah, there's wolves in Florida. And it's like, there's no wolves in Florida. And then if somebody was like, they're right here, like, oh, I guess there's wolves in Florida. Like you don't think there are, but so yeah, like it's I don't know. I don't even remember where I was going with that, but uh, yeah, I don't know. It's wild, man. It's cool to think about though. I always love thinking and talking about this kind of stuff, and I don't get to do it often. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad we can provide you with an outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think what you mentioned Florida. I think when people move in too, that's when a lot of weird stuff starts happening. Because we see in Florida now they're in a just complete snake crisis because of
Yeah.
the domesticated snakes that get out. They're not supposed to be there. They start breeding with other snakes, and now there's just pythons or boa constrictors everywhere.
Yeah.
I think probably the most logical explanation for why we don't see cryptids is because people have moved into the areas where maybe these species of animal was hiding, and now they have to retreat back to a very specific part of land that probably people have never seen before, or if there are people there, it's some sort of tribe that doesn't let any people near them. Which there's dozens of tribes like that in the world that
Yeah.
a person comes across these tribes and they often don't live to tell the tale.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very possible that Bigfoot or even something that no one's even seen or conceived of before, that we
Yeah.
can't even imagine, definitely, might live out in the rainforest somewhere.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, you think about how big, like the rainforest is, or hell, even like the Rocky Mountains, like places that people just can't get to. Like what's
Yeah.
living there? Like there's places probably never been seen by human eyes. It's like, what if there is like weird animals living there that we've never seen?
Right. And I know we live in a day and age where like everyone has a camera with them at all times, pretty much. But like, and I know they're around, but like, how often do you naturally just come across a bear or like a bear skeleton or something like that? Like people always ask, like, well, why don't we find Bigfoot bones anywhere? I'm like, well,
Yeah.
how often do you find bear bones anywhere? And we
Yeah.
know what bears are, but like, you just fucking don't. Some shit carries it off or
Right.
eats them. Uh, yeah, there's lots of and like people that just go missing too. Like even without not nefarious intentions. I don't know. Without foul play, I guess would be a good way to put it. Like people just hikers that just go missing and maybe aren't found or recovered for 30 years or ever. So like something else could easily be hiding and we're just not finding it. Um, I mean, some people don't ever want to be found by other people. So I'm sure some creatures are the same way.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that unfortunately that might be a mystery that we never solve as well.
Yeah,
Or if
that's part
someone
of the
has
fun.
solved it, they're not sharing the information with the general public.
Yeah,
But that's not a conversation we'll get into right now. That's Jacob's conspiracy corner.
yeah.
But Colin, man, it's been great having you on the podcast, dude. You have been a fantastic first guest to
Oh,
kick this month off with. Before we get you out of here, on the comedy episodes, we usually have a regular question that we ask people. For this one month, this one horror month, I do want to change that question. I want to ask all of our guests through this month, what is, some recommendations of either underrated or obscure horror products, movies, video games, TV, or whatever that you think that everyone should be enjoying this Halloween season?
ooh, okay. Can I do a shameless plug real quick?
Yes,
Sure.
of course, please.
All right, cool. So two movies that are going to be coming out that I am in. Uh, one is called Children of the Woods, and that will be a found footage horror flick that I'm flying out to North Carolina for in November. And then like a nice, fun, cheesy one that I'll be in. I think we're filming in February. Killer Pizza. It is going to be absolutely ridiculous, and I cannot wait. And something cool about it, kind of the big reason I said yes to that one. Um, so this couple, Mandy and Anthony, they are the directors, producers, writers of the movie. They have a daughter named Emma. I think I just know her as Em. But she was like 11, 10, 11, something like that. And basically, she was like, hey, I have an idea for a movie. What if there was a killer pizza? And Mandy and Anthony were both just kind of like, sure, why not? Let's make a movie. And that's so fucking cool. Could you imagine just thinking of something in like your 8-year-old, 10-year-old brain, whatever, and you're like, hey, this would be a cool movie. And then someone was just like, yeah, okay, sure. Like that she's probably the coolest kid in school right now. She's making
Yeah.
a movie. Like she's 10. That's awesome. So I mean, it's a movie about a killer pizza. It's not gonna win an Oscar or anything, but
Hold on.
it's gonna be
It
fun.
might.
It might. It could be a cult classic sort of thing, like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, like that. That's got a
Yeah.
cult following. But there's gonna be some cool people in that too. Walter Phelan, who played Dr. Satan in House of a Thousand Corpses, is in it.
Okay.
Nancy
Nice.
Ann Ritter was in Scream. Tom Glenn has become a good buddy of mine. He played Kringle in the newer Creep Show on Shudder.
Mm.
There's Al Burke from WWF, not WWE, WWF back in the day. He's going to be in it. He was also in The Wedding Singer, like the "You don't talk to Billy Idol that way" guy on the plane. Um, uh, but yeah, no, it's gonna be a fun time. As far as stuff I'm not in though, that people should check. Also, by the way, Killer Pizza, you there is an Indiegogo going right now, and you can join the cast and other stuff. You can get cool swag like shirts and hats and stuff like that. But you can buy on some like voiceover perks or like remote acting perks if you don't want to travel. Like we can probably get you a clip like this doing something you want to do, or you could fly in and be in a scene with me and Dr. Satan or something like that. That'd be really cool. Anyway, stuff that I recommend though. The houses, especially for Halloween season, Houses October Built is one of my favorites. Found footage flick about people finding the scariest haunted attraction in the country, and then they start to see like, hey, wasn't that little girl like at the last haunt like 4 states ago? And then they go to the next one, and she's like, she's still here, and like it's crazy. And the cool thing is, I think they interview a lot of people that work at these haunts, and I think the interviews are real because they're like, so what's the hiring process like? And people are like, dude, there is no background check whatsoever. And it was like, I feel so safe. But that one's fun. That one's a great one. And Hell House LLC is
Mm.
another really fun one. Very cheesy, but like I love found footage horror. I also just saw that James McAvoy flick, Speak No Evil, which was pretty
Yeah.
good. Um, Based on I think it's a Swedish movie that's on Shudder by the same name. Um, but they're both very good. I like the McAvoy one better, I think, but that's in theaters right now.
Let me ask you, just to make sure, I looked up on Indiegogo, the Killer Pizza. Is it by
Yeah.
Anthony Caimano?
Yep, that's it.
Awesome. I'll put this link in the show notes, too.
Cool, sounds good.
You guys, they got quite a bit of money for this thing.
Yeah, it's doing okay.
Yeah, 155. Let's see, 276 backers. At almost $34,000 now.
That rules.
It's not bad.
It's gonna be.
I haven't looked at the numbers in a bit.
This looks
That's gonna be a
really
fun time.
cool. Oh, this is awesome. Oh, you got to go check this out, Jacob.
I think we're doing all practical effects too. Like, so basically I play Brandon, like the pizza delivery guy, and Tom Glynn plays my boss, who like I think becomes the pizza, and I basically carry around the pizza while he gets his revenge, and it's gonna be so silly and awesome. Like I can't wait.
Well, if you need two background idiots in the movie, let us know. We'll come up and
Hell yeah. I think we're filming in I never remember New York stuff. Rochester or Brooklyn or Buffalo, somewhere in New York. I know that much.
That'll work. Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna put this link in there. If anybody out there wants to contribute to it, please do, because this looks awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yes, definitely do that. Definitely keep an eye out for Collin's upcoming pictures. Is there anything that you want to throw people towards as far as music, Collin?
Oh yeah, sure. My band, the day after, like very like heavy punk rock, hardcore kind of stuff. We got a new album that we're going to be dropping here soon. Gross statement: we will be 16 years old this December. We've been doing this since we were kids.
Nice.
And we got a new album finally coming, and I think possibly later this month or next month there might be a new single dropping with a music video. I'm not sure yet. We're just trying to figure out, like, it's all done. We're just trying to figure out when we want to release stuff. And then my other band, it's kind of an emo alternative band called Post Gospel. It's like if Matchbox 20 had a weird kid in 2023. Yeah, it's fun. I like it a lot. So we got an EP out called what is our EP called? Natural Habitat. And we got a bunch of new songs that we have taken into the studio too, and we'll hopefully be getting more recording done on that here soon. But I think if you find me on socials anywhere, there's like a Linktree that has like the link to all of our socials, and where you could find us on Spotify and all that. We should have the little blue check mark next to all our stuff, so you know which one's ours. But yeah, check some stuff out, some movies and some music, and I hope you like it.
Awesome, and I'll link your Instagram into the show notes too.
Cool.
So what's up, Jacob? What we got going on before we get out of here?
Man, I worked really hard, not just booking whoever I can for this horror month. Okay, I definitely put some work into the kind of guests that we're bringing on this month. So definitely, be sure to watch all of our horror month episodes. Go to our website, openmicers.com, to keep updated on who our guests are going to be. Check out our blog, see all the videos of everything. Me and Jason, as far as stand-up goes, November 23rd, we're going to be in Mobile at Cedar Street Social, and December 8th, we are going to be in New Orleans at Uncle Matt's. I believe that's a bar over there in New Orleans. So yeah, come check us out and get in the Patreon. Me and Jason are going to be doing a trick or treat special for the Patreon this month, where the tricks will be stuff like, let's say, like really spicy hot sauce and stuff like that. And the treats, for example, are going to be stuff like black licorice. So it's going to be another gross challenge video for the Patreon. So get in that for as little as $1 a month.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get out of here. If you want to email us at openmicerspodcast@gmail.com. We're at openmicers.com is our website. And, of course, linktree.com/openmicerspodcast is our Linktree that takes you everywhere you need to go. All the socials, all the ways to give us money, all that good stuff. And don't forget to go to brezcoffeeco.com. Use the code OMPodcast for 10% off your order. We love you all, and we'll see you next week.
I think I might be a cryptid.